Nancy Pelosi blocks vote on infanticide. Hey everyone, I'm Kelly with Students for Life with today's pro-life Gen News. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi continues to block a vote on the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, which would strengthen protections for babies born alive during an abortion. But there is a way to vote on this issue. It's called a discharge petition, and it allows representatives to bring legislation to the floor over the objection of the Speaker of the House. So to explain this issue and how we can be active on the issue, we're going to talk today with Christy Hamrick, Students for Life's media strategist and our resident expert on legal legislation. So Christy, good morning.
Morning.
So we have some questions for you this morning. First of all, just for our audience, can you explain what a discharge petition actually is, what it does?
Well, the founders were really smart in providing some ways where if you aren't getting the satisfaction you want from leadership, that there are some go-arounds. So the discharge petition is a way for if 218 members of the House vote in favor, we can bring a piece of legislation to the floor for a vote that has been blocked generally by the Speaker of the House, which in this case is Nancy Pelosi and her party.
Right.
So it's a tool that we can use or that anyone can use when they're not in the majority or when the Speaker, who really does control the floor, hasn't helped us out with a vote. And what's interesting about this particular discharge petition is that the Democrats in general have been trying to block a vote on the Born Alive bill because they don't want their presidential candidates and their members coming up for election to be on record. But that's not going to work, because what we're doing is we are counting these votes on these procedural matters, yes, but they are, in fact, the actual votes on the Born Alive bill, because it's the only way we can express a voice. So a vote for the discharge petition is a vote for life. That's the message that we're getting out. It's the tool available to us. It would be great if Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats would bring this bill to the House floor. We're asking them to do that with the discharge petition, but we do need 218 votes in the House to make that happen.
So Christy, how are we going to be able to use these votes down the road?
I think the real power of these votes is going to be how it impacts the next election. I mean, this is, in fact, legal infanticide. 44 members in the Senate voted that babies born during abortion should not be held. The discharge petition is the same kind of vote. We are asking people to go on record saying, should babies born during abortions get help? We're saying, yes, they should, obviously. But whether or not you allow an actual vote on the measure, what these votes are saying is that the people voting against will allow legal infanticide. That is going to be used as campaign ads from sea to shining sea. You already see President Trump signaling it. You see the RNC signal it. But even if they didn't, certainly Students for Life of America and groups like ours are going to be very clear with people that members of the House and Senate have said on record that they're okay with legal infanticide. One of the really powerful and I think painful things about this particular issue is that the abortion lobby has really tried to say, oh, we have to end unborn life, even unborn life late in pregnancy, because of the health of the mother. This issue takes that off the table. The baby has been born. There's no health of the mother issue. There's no life of the mother issue. We have a living, breathing child. And the abortion industry, Planned Parenthood, and their Democratic allies are saying that baby lying there should die, should be thrown out like trash. And thrown out like trash is real, because that's what we saw happen to some babies that were rescued when they were born during abortion. So it's a significant issue because it really takes all the abortion industry's talking points off the table. And that's why it's going to be a powerful campaign ad. And that's how the vote is really going to be used ultimately, to illustrate who is for legal infanticide, who is for abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy for any reason whatsoever, and often with taxpayer dollars. That's an extreme position, and it's not a position that almost anyone shares.
So Christy, why do you think that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are blocking this legislation, since it seems like such a common sense law that we want to pass?
You know, you're absolutely right. It is common sense. And the funny thing is, conventional wisdom is that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are blocking a vote on the Born Alive measure, thinking that that's going to be some get out of election jail free card, but it's not. We are counting this discharge petition as a vote to protect babies born during abortions. The gamesmanship of saying, oh, it's a discharge petition and not the official bill, that's nonsense. This is an effort to get people on record for protecting babies born during abortions. You can call it a discharge petition. You can bring the actual matter to the floor. But if you don't vote for this discharge petition, you're voting for legal infanticide. That's the message and that's the reality. So the gamesmanship of discharge petition versus actual bill might sound good when you're in a caucus meeting, but it's not going to fly with the voters. This will count.
So Christy, what is it that we can do as everyday Americans to kind of get this ball rolling, get some momentum on this, and make a difference?
Well, one thing that everybody can do is contact their member of the House of Representatives and say that they want them to vote yes for the discharge petition for the Born Alive bill. That is really important, and that's the first thing people should do. But a lot of members on Capitol Hill, they track their social media. I would encourage people also to tweet out, called my Representative X today, asking them to vote yes on the discharge petition for Born Alive. You know, retweet Students for Life's messaging on this and send that messaging to your representative. Hey, you know, Representative X, take a look at this. This bill counts. This vote counts. So share our social media. Absolutely, and make a phone call. I mean, those are two things you can do. It's going to take you 10 minutes and it makes a difference because they are tracking this. People are going to get numbers at the end of the day. I worked in 2 Senate offices for a period of time. They get a rundown of how many letters did we get for or against? What was our Facebook for or against? What about Twitter for or against? These are things that happen. You can really make a difference in sharing your voice on social media. But don't forget to make a phone call. They need to hear from you and know that you took the time. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but it really isn't. And if you go to the Students for Life website, the phone number is there. We're going to make it painless for you.
Christy, thank you so much for joining us today, giving us that information. We really appreciate it. Remember to call your representative and tell them that you support a vote on the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. All you need to do is call 202-225-3121 and ask to speak to your representative, which you can also find at www.house.gov. Your calls, your social media, your tweets, your voice, it all matters. For today's Pro-Life Gen News, I'm Kelly. We'll see you next time.